Alright guys, behind me is the BMW X7 xDrive 40i, which is the biggest SUV that BMW makes and the biggest one that BMW Malaysia offers. It goes for 650,000 ringgit, but I checked on the website like yesterday and it costs right now 685,000 ringgit. Not sure if that'll increase even more with SST exemptions ending in June 30th, so that can go as high as 700k, but still 700k for a car that is so big and so luxurious from BMW, it's not that bad of a deal because this is locally assembled. Let's take a look at the most extra BMW in Malaysia. So kind of get the X7 is the most extra BMW you can buy, right? Nowhere else is that more obvious than the front end, because BMW these days, I don't know man, they're going on a design route that is controversial, okay? So when the 7 Series came out, it had a huge grille. Everyone, including me, kind of like, ugh, what is that? Kind of like wincing, cringing at the grille. And then I reviewed the 7 Series, wasn't that bad. Same thing with the X7. I looked at it and go like, ugh. But then, I don't like it, but it's not that bad in person. And the thing is, you better like it as well because every BMW so far is getting bigger and bigger with the kidney grille. The iX, the electric car, SUV, huge grille that extends all the way down here. You better like big grills if you like BMWs. That's just the way it is. And actually, with this car, you actually get a facelift, which has just been released, so I guess in Germany. It's coming eventually where you have split headlights. So instead of like one cluster over here, you split that. You can look it up on Google yourself and see if you like it and see if that's better or not. Same with the 7 Series, split headlights, even more controversy. In person, looks pretty okay. So along the sides, there's less controversy. Over here, it looks like almost an X5 because it is kind of like an X5, but XL size. So you have this blue color, very nice. It also matches the BMW laser lights. The accents are in blue, matching 21-inch wheels. Along the sides, really, this car is huge, okay? But it doesn't look too radical. It looks like an SUV. It looks like an X5, larger. All I can say about, in fact, you get the Hofmeister kink over here. There's something about this profile that reminds me of all things of the Volkswagen Tiguan. I'll just say that. At the back, okay, so it's basically an SUV. We've got an SUV back over here. What do you think about the back end design? I don't mind it. It's nothing radical, nothing special. Nothing controversial, I don't hate it either. And people told me that it looks the most uncle from the back. Actually, the camera guy said it to me yesterday. And the boot opens up, kind of like a Range Rover. So I guess if you're buying a Range Rover, this is the other car you could buy, like the ultra luxurious SUV. So there's a split tailgate. This opens to load up your stuff, and you can open this up to, I don't know, to load groceries, to sit, you have a picnic or something. Also, if you have heavy items and you can't be bothered because you're so rich with this car to afford it, and you can't be bothered to lift up, you know, your heavy item this much, what you do is you can lower the suspension over here because this rides on air shocks. So if your orang kaya arms didn't want to lift this much, it'll lower itself so you can lift it only this much to carry things into the boot. And you don't want to lift it up like a pickup truck owner, right? So press this, it goes up, press that, that comes down. What a rich man's life is like. So the thing is about this car is that when you lower it down, it looks really nice. It looks really hunkered down, almost like a wagon, because there's no gap, there's no wheel gap over here. It's so thin. So you have a hunkered down, lowered BMW that's aggressive looking, but that doesn't last because the air shocks have to extend when you start driving. So when you drive, even for a little bit, it'll look like an SUV instead of a nice sporty X7 wagon. Okay, so with the X7 xDrive 40i, you get a 3-liter straight-six engine, and because of that, you get actual real exhaust. I mean, this finisher over here is chromed and nice, but the actual exhausts are in here, and they're not finished in chrome. So if you're looking for super duper detail, not going to be impressive. Okay, so like the 7 Series, the X7 comes with soft closed doors. So if you tak makan nasi apa bubut in the morning for breakfast, it'll close it for you. Very, very nice. Not a lot of legroom right now, but at least I can actually recline the seats like this and also push it back to get more legroom, just more comfort generally. All right, so I have a big 10.2 inch screen over here, which basically is iDrive, but I can plug in HDMI, I can plug in USB-C, I guess to like mirror my laptop or whatever. I have my iPad. So yeah, it's like an in-flight system, right? The thing is, if it does seem a little bit dark in here, you're not alone, because it's a black interior on black accents with some dark wood. So it is kind of dark. If you're gonna get the X7, by the way, please get it in either the cognac option for the leather or the coffee option to give it some contrast, okay? It is quite dark in here right now. At least I have a huge panoramic sunroof over here, which BMW calls the Sky Lounge. And I press this button? No, wait, that button? Yeah, that button. To open the Sky Lounge. Basically the panoramic sunroof, right? So I can have more light in here, I can look good for my Zoom call to make $1 billion deal. And yeah, this is the place you want to be if you're the big boss, your driver's in front of you, and you're going somewhere with your laptop doing some business in the X7. So for your 700k luxury SUV, you want to get in the back seats, the back seats, the third row, press a button, and it very slowly and very gracefully retracts everything and lets you go in the back seat. So while it's raining and you're getting splashed with rain, at least you won't have to access your arms. You'll just have to wait for it. And now I can access the back seats, which have its own little sunroof area and temperature controls. So you're not really that bad, not really that worse off in the back seats. It's a little bit more cramped, but that's about it. You do get USB, you do get air conditioning vents over here as well. It's pretty good life. The thing is, if you have 700,000 ringgit to spend on a German premium luxury SUV, a flagship luxury SUV, are you the one doing the driving, or are you the one being driven? Like the 7 Series, that's a limousine. So this is the SUV version of the 7 Series, a car that you are being driven in. So it makes sense that you are being driven instead of being the one behind the wheel like I am now. So what I'm doing right now, is that even relevant? To be honest, I don't know. Because you could also argue that, hey, you know what? I want 7 seats, I want a big SUV, I want a BMW, so X7 is the obvious choice. I don't care if it's supposed to be the kind of car that you are driven in. I want to drive my X7. So okay, fair enough. So this is for you. It feels luxurious. It feels like you're cocooned in a capsule of luxury. Well, kind of black leather and, you know, very sort of like uncle wood trimmings over here, but luxury. Okay, this does have autonomous emergency braking, so AEB. It does have that. It does have lane keep assist. It does have blind spot monitoring. And that's it. Oh, it has active cruise control, so you or your driver can just, you know, kind of chill out on the highway over a long distance road trip. Fine, that's easy to do. It does do that. And it does have the most important thing any larger car can have, which is a 360-degree camera, also called a all-round view camera. You know, the one that can just show you all the directions of the car, like give you like a top-down view. So important in avoiding little scuff marks and just hitting things you can't really see because the car is so huge. But let's stop over here. Just cover the stuff at the front. Okay, so what you have essentially the same dashboard layout and look of the 5 Series, the G30 5 Series and the 7 Series. Okay, so you have this, you know, the iDrive system over here. You have twin screens, but they have like a binnacle for the driver display over here. Steering wheel's the same. The overall layout and just the feel of everything and materials are exactly almost similar to that of the 5 Series and the 7 Series. It feels good. It feels luxurious. You have this huge skylight, sky lounge thing ahead of you. I mean, above me. And it feels good. But there's not much to say. If you're used to the 5 Series or 7 Series, this doesn't really surprise you. You have the same materials, you have the same layout. So what do we have up front? So under the bonnet you have a 3-liter B58, which is what they call the engine, okay? B58 3-liter straight 6 turbocharged petrol engine. That produces 340 horsepower and 450 Newton meters of torque. Now that sounds like a lot, right? But remember, this weighs almost 2.4 tons, or 2.4 tons exactly. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight for this engine to pull around. And that's why, I mean, even though it says xDrive 40i and maybe 40i in Malaysia is not really a common thing, but it is actually the least powerful. It is the entry-level engine that you can get in the X7, okay? After this, you can get a 3-liter quad turbocharged diesel engine with a lot of torque, or you can get even the 4.4-liter twin turbo V8. So it's basically a down-tuned version of the engine that you would get in the M5, let's say. So that being said, this is no slouch, okay? You have 340 horsepower. BMW says that it'll do 0 to 100 in 6.1 seconds. That's faster than the Mark 8 Golf GTI that launched recently in Malaysia. So let's try it out. Let's see what happens when I go into drive, sport, individual. Okay, the bolsters kind of kick in, the car kind of hunkers down. I can feel it a bit, getting a little bit lower, I think. The thing is, BMW, even if you had a V8 under the bonnet, it wouldn't sound as correct. A BMW with a straight 6 engine sounds correct. It's silky, it's smooth. Okay. 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 So it's not especially fast. I don't know if that was 6.1 seconds or what, but maybe it's because, you know, the way the car rides, it doesn't have that kind of vibrations and sensations that tell you, hey, you're going very fast. Things are happening to make it go fast. It's just kind of like pushing you along. Let's just believe that was 6.1 seconds or maybe 6.5 seconds. Okay, like hot hatch territory fast, even though you're in a big old girl. You're in basically a cruise ship in terms of cars, okay? If you pull up to the behind of this car, if this car's ahead of you, and like a set of lights, the whole like bus, big truck effect happens. You pull up to this thing in a smaller car like a Kancil, a Krisa, a Axia, you'll just be eclipsed. You have no idea what's ahead of you. The sun disappears, okay? That's how big this car is. The pedal shifters don't really feel good, to be honest. It feels very plasticky, very cheap in a car that costs 700,000 ringgit, a little bit less. Yeah. But the gearbox itself, I didn't mention that. So it's called the ZF 8 HP transmission. Basically, it's in every BMW from the 1 Series, not the new 1 Series, the old 1 Series that was the proper 1 Series with rear-wheel drive. That had the ZF 8 speed. You got the same one in the 3 Series, the 5 Series, 7 Series, and the X7. You're very aware of how much this thing weighs. Very aware. It's just a lot of weight being thrown around. You can't hide it. It is comfortable, it is quiet, it is refined, very refined. The engine is silky. The transmission is seamless. And you're surrounded by luxury. You're surrounded by acres of leather and wood and stitching, and just, it's a nice place to be. And you have this sky lounge and stuff like that. So it's a good place to just unwind and enjoy the fact that you're rich. When else can you actually sit in the car like this? When else can I sit in a car like this and feel rich and feel more important than that other guy down the road from me or next to me in traffic lights? Not very often. So it's an enjoyable experience doing this to other people, which also matches that nose, that kidney grill. Okay. On the highways too, comfortable, quiet, refined. It's the kind of place that, you know, you would be happily conducting a Zoom meeting, you know, for your next billion-dollar deal in the back seats. You know, with your laptop out, listening to some good jazz to get you in the mood, some power music, some Sigma grind set music or whatever you want to do. Yeah, it's a nice place to be. what else is there right now to compete with the X7? The closest competitor is the Mercedes-Benz GLS. But the Mercedes-Benz GLS is significantly more expensive. I don't know if you care about that if you're spending 700k on a car, but the GLS is closer to 1 million ringgit. 900,000 ringgit is what the GLS costs because it is not locally assembled. This, when it debuted in 2019 in Malaysia, CBU, it costs almost 900,000 ringgit, edging 900,000 ringgit. So, you know, it wouldn't be that far apart from the GLS, but the fact is, this now is CKD. That's the big deal. So, 649,000 ringgit, 685 for some reason right now on BMW Malaysia's website. Rolls-Royce, Bentley with the Bentayga, they go to extra lengths to make that like crazy luxurious, to the point that it's ludicrous the details they actually can go to, and like you can spend hundreds of thousands of ringgit extra on those cars just on a few optional extras. Okay, but you know, for the most part, this is 8 out of 10 as luxurious as those cars, I'll dare to say. The thing is though, why would you get this over the 7 Series? Ironically, the 7 Series is the X7's worst enemy. Anywhere you're sat in either of these cars, you would get a very comparable, maybe even identical level of luxury. Okay? Except maybe the X7, you can argue, has 7 seats. But sitting in the back seat, the back seat, is not a comfortable, luxurious experience. It just isn't. So, if you want to sit here or you want to sit behind me, that experience can be just as good, just as luxurious and as posh and as refined and as blah 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 as the X7. Except that the 7 Series is cheaper, significantly cheaper, like 100,000 ringgit cheaper than this. That's quite a lot of money. As you have a 3-liter straight 6 only in this car, you get a 3-liter straight 6 and an electric motor, because the 7 Series, as it's offered in Malaysia in a single spec, is a plug-in hybrid. So not only you get more power and more torque, and it feels faster because of that, you get also the fuel efficiency pluses from that. You can actually travel like up to like 40 something kilometers just on the battery without using any fuel. So if you're the kind of person who just commutes to work, or your driver commutes for you to work, you don't have to have used a single drop of petrol if you don't really want to. You can make that work, you know? And so there is huge economy benefits to the 7 Series, but as someone who spends a lot of money on their car to afford a limousine or a luxury SUV, do you care about fuel economy savings? I don't know. It does help though when you talk about things like refinement, because when you're on the electric motor by itself with no engine kicking in, it does feel like you're in a proper luxury car. That experience of having just complete silence is something, there is something to be said about that. Okay? I mean, the straight 6 in here and in the 7 Series is refined and beautiful and silky. But if you're in a limousine and you want complete tranquility, you want silence. And the 7 Series offers that, where this one does not. Okay? And also, just because of the fact that it is a lower car, it is a sedan, and low to the ground, you have a lower center of gravity, lower center of mass, and therefore it does feel like a better car to drive. Like, this thing doesn't drive bad for a high riding SUV, but the 7 Series just drives better because it's just a car. It's a BMW car. If you're as tall as TRX, if you're as tall as the TRX building and the 7 Series just won't cut it for you, you want that extra headroom, right? Then I guess the 7 Series loses out to the X7. The X7 is the car for you. But besides that, what else? What situation would you have to be in to pick the X7 over the 7 Series? If you're as tall as TRX, if you just want to spend extra money on the car, you know, maybe the 7 Series is too cheap for you. I don't know. Or you have a big family and you have to carry more people than 5, and you want the third row seats. Okay, fair enough. What else? Oh, you must also really like SUVs. If you really like SUVs, and just owning a sedan like the 7 Series just rubs you the wrong way, then I guess the X7 is the car to go for. You're kind of trapped between a rock and a hard place, because if you really want a BMW 7 Series SUV because you don't like sedans, this is the car for you.